So are you looking to scale up your pallet flipping, liquidation, reselling business? I'm going to be telling you how I would handle scaling up a business if I were starting a pallet flipping business in 2020. Coming up. What is up, beautiful people? TJ here with another episode. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about pallet flipping, liquidation pallets. So I wanted to make a clarification because I've gotten a couple of comments about pallet flipping. And so pallet flipping, yeah, I'm talking about liquidation pallets. I'm talking about purchasing a pallet of liquidation items and for resale. So basically you're getting premium goods, you're getting unexpected returns, you're getting new items, air fryers, electronics, furniture, different things like that, and you are reselling it for a profit. There is a show that's coming out very, very soon. I believe it's coming out August the 4th. It's called Extreme Unboxing. It's going to be all about pallet flipping and people buying liquidation and reselling and different things like that. But somebody asked me a very specific question, and I want to kind of touch on that today. So somebody asked me how you scale this business up. So if you have been doing liquidation pallets, if you have been doing resale, but you're trying to figure out how you can get to the next level of sales, this is going to be a video for you. All right, so right now in 2020, it's a very different time if you're getting into liquidation. One of the big things is there's a lot of new people that's getting into liquidation, and it's very readily accessible for people to get into this business. So you really have to think about the funds that you have available in order to scale up, and then how you're going to get from point A to point B. So whenever we scaled up our business, we really had to think about the space that we were in. So you want to look at different storage options. If you don't have like a warehouse, or if you don't have a storage facility, or if you don't have even a garage, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to scale up unless you have a plan to do so. So this is one thing that I always suggest to people, especially if they want to scale up with their pallet flipping business, is if you can get a storage unit, a ground storage unit. Some storage units, the one that we actually had, they would accept shipments for us. So if you want to order, let's just say you ordered a truckload of 16 pallets, you can actually have those 16 pallets go straight to that storage unit, and you can just roll them straight into the storage unit. What that does for you is you don't have to worry about the storage because it's in a facility away from you, it's away from your house, it's outside of your life, but you can work on it on a periodical basis. It's not like so hard for you just to jump in and go through process 16 pallets, because that's very, very overwhelming. I was actually talking to somebody in our Facebook group, and I put a link to the Facebook group if you want to join that as well. But I was talking to somebody in the Facebook group, and she was actually talking about wanting to order a truckload, and I told her that's great. I said you just have to make sure you put very realistic goals for yourself to process that pallet, because anybody can go out and buy a truckload, anybody can go out and buy 5, 6, 7 liquidation pallets, but you just want to make sure that you are setting realistic goals for yourself. And if you process stuff slow, so when I say process, I'm talking about tearing the pallet down, manifesting everything that's on the pallet, looking at the condition of each item on that liquidation pallet, understanding the condition of it, how it looks, feels, breathes, smells, whatever you want to call it, making sure that that liquidation pallet is 100% completely processed. Also listing those items. If you're going to list those items on eBay or Amazon or on your personal website or wherever you're going to list those items, get those items listed. It takes a lot of time to process that, so you have to really think about that when you're looking to scale your business. Now, the way that I would do it is I would have a short-term and a long-term plan. So I would say, if I purchased right now, I had $2,000 to purchase some pallets. I would go and I would assess the market and see exactly how many pallets I can purchase for that amount of money. For $2,000, you can probably get about 5, maybe 6 pallets, depending on where you get them from, where you source them from. So if you were to get 5 or 6 pallets, how long is it going to take you to process those pallets? So the way that me and April are working right now, we can only process about 4 pallets at any given time. If we get more than 4 pallets, it's completely overwhelming for us, and we actually can't get those items processed, and they end up sitting there and you have like dead stock just sitting there. Now that's okay if you want to just get some stuff ready for like Q4, or if you wanted to prepare yourself just in case there's something with the pandemic and everything shuts back down. You still want to have sales rolling. That's completely okay, but just don't think that you can get 16 pallets or even 8 pallets and think that you're going to be able to process those without any hitch. All right, so now after you've assessed what you can actually physically process in a certain amount of time, that's going to be your short-term plan. So how you're going to process, how long it takes to process 1 pallet. And if you can process all those pallets on a periodical basis, you can get 1 pallet processed in 2 days or 3 days or whatever, however long it takes. Just have a short-term goal of, I'm going to process this many items every day until I get the whole entire pallet processed. So if you know exactly how long it's going to take you to process 1 pallet, then you can say, okay, well, it's going to take me this long to process this many pallets. And that kind of tells you how far you can scale your business with how many people you have and how much time you have to allocate to this business. Now, I wouldn't recommend just jumping into buying the pallets and then figuring it out later on. A lot of times, like I said, it's just very easy to purchase pallets, but you really have to look at how much time you have to kind of process those. So I also kind of look at where you want to offload your pallets or your merchandise that you're going to get with the pallets, because if you look at if you're getting items, you want to make sure that they are selling in your area or if they're selling online. So there's a lot of the same inventory going around right now. So you really have to look at what's available, how much it's available for, and where you're going to sell those items to. All right, so after you figured out how long it's going to take you to process your items, where you're going to offload your items to, then you can start making long-term plans for your scalability. So a lot of times people will order truckloads, and then they go through and they process all of them. They get everything listed, they start selling stuff, and then they start making money. So once you start generating the income, and what are you going to do with that income? How much money are you going to reallocate towards your business? So that's one of the long-term goals or long-term things that you need to look at, is how much money you are going to reallocate for your business. So let's just take simple numbers. You purchased 5 or 6 pallets for $2,000. Let's just say in the first 3 weeks you made $3,000. So now you have enough to buy 5 or 6 or 7 more pallets, and then still have a bunch of profit rolling in. That is how you scale your business. You look at what your break even is, how much money it takes for your overhead, and then you take that money and you reinvest into your business. A lot of times people want to jump in, they want to get into the business, they start making a bunch of money. They spend $2,000, they make $2,000, and then they go out and they spend the $2,000. Well, you have to have a process for how you are bringing the money in versus how much you are spending on that item. So we touched on this in the course of how we set up our financials. I think it's very important for you to have a solid financial structure and a solid financial plan, because you really need to know how much money to allocate or reallocate for your business. And you don't want to be making those decisions on the fly. You really want to be looking ahead and say, okay, when I get this money, I'm going to break this money up in this kind of way, and there's simple percentages. We have multiple bank accounts, so we can kind of move the money where it needs to go. That way we know how much money we have actually available to reinvest into our business through purchasing pallets, or maybe purchasing things to make listing easier, things to make our business a lot easier. We have an account specifically for that. So we have this set amount of money to do that. You have to have a budget for that, because if you go in willy-nilly, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to overspend on pallets, and you're not going to be spending on things that's going to make it easier for you to process those pallets. So I know that's a lot of information. Just looking at scaling your business, you really need to have a solid plan and think about exactly what you're going to do. A lot of times times with liquidation, it's a lot harder to kind of make those plans because you don't necessarily know what you're going to get unless you have a really solid relationship with liquidator. If they let you know, hey, if you tell them, hey, I'm looking for this type of merchandise, and they say, hey, I have this type of merchandise, I can give you a good deal on it if you can come get it today or tomorrow or whatever, and then you can kind of plan from there. But if you're just going out and purchasing what's available in the marketplace, it's going to be a lot harder for you to kind of understand where you're going to go because you don't know what kind of merchandise you're going to get. So I hope this video was helpful. I know I talked a lot about the liquidation pallets and the process and stuff like that, but I think that it's going to help somebody, especially if they are trying to get to the next level of their pallet flipping business. We've made a lot of mistakes, and we've been able to kind of come through those mistakes on the winning end, so we want to kind of share those tips with you. Also, you can join the Facebook group. We do a lot of talking over there about different things, different ideas. There's a lot of resellers over there, so you can learn definitely from us and them as well. So check that out. Put a link to that in the description section below. As well, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section. I will try to answer those as quickly as I can. I appreciate you guys for watching. See you guys on the next one. Peace.